you that our special guest tomorrow night across Birmingham. I'm Linda O'Brien, and joining us in the studio later is Paul Tate, who's Birmingham City's longest serving player and has his testimonial this year. Of course, that's later on, but first, Solihull Borough's FA Cup dreams were shattered last night when they lost on the dreaded penalties. But there was no shame for the Dr. Martens Midland League side against league opposition. Darlington, Hugh Jameson reports.
Hopefully Solihull can win tonight. But if they're going to win, it's going to be for the front lads, Joe Dowling and Nicky Cross.
Solihull Borough's FA Cup dream of giant-killing glory ended in cruel fashion at a rain-swept Moorlands last night. The Doc Martens club lost in a penalty shootout to nationwide third division Darlington after the weary teams had been locked in 3-3 draw at the end of extra time. But a night that has started with high hopes of Borough beating a league side for the first time in their history looked to have been on the cards after leading scorer Joey Dowling had sent jubilant Solihull into extra time with a dramatic equaliser. Darlington, already down to 10 men after former Aston Villa midfield man Lee Turnbull had been sent off, struggled for survival, with Solihull aiming for a killer punch in extra time. But a second round trip to GM Vauxhall Conference Club Hensford hinged on a penalty shootout that Solihull eventually lost 4-2 after hot shot Dowling and former West Brom striker Nicky Cross both missed from the spot. Gallant Solihull were left close to tears, but deserve credit for putting the club on the FA Cup map, with manager Paul Dyson full of praise for his exhausted troops.
Paul, that was a cruel way to go out.
Yeah, penalties is always a cruel way to lose any game. It's just unfortunate that we had to miss out too.
And penalty shootouts always a lottery, but yours was turning into a nightmare.
It was, yeah. It's very, very difficult when you go down to penalties. A lot of tired legs out there. Someone had to lose, and I'm afraid it was us.
But what pleased you most about the performance?
But the lads just give everything they got. They worked hard, very committed, and they deserved everything they got out of the game, and we could have won it in the end.
Paul, that must be so disappointing.
Yeah, it's too disappointing for words, really, to be honest with you. We've come so close, but at the end of the day, we're out, haven't we? So.
And to go out on penalty makes it even worse, doesn't it?
I think so, but they've got to get the results for now, haven't they? You know, you wouldn't say anything about the lads who miss the penalties, because at the end of the day, everyone's given their all during the game. And Joey scored 2 goals in the game, so you know there's no real feeling from any of the lads there. We're just bitterly disappointed that we haven't won the game.
The way you came back, I mean, it was tremendous stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a few tired legs out there, to be honest with you, but you can't ask any more of anybody, really. We just give it our all and just failed at the last hurdle, really.
What about yourself when it came to penalties? It's a cruel way, isn't it?
Yeah, we, funny, myself and Joe missed them, and they're probably the 2 that you expect to score them, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Hugh Jameson, Sport on 16.
Well, it looks like we took along our very own window cleaner on that shoot. Well, while Mark Bosnich is on international duty with Australia, his deputy Michael Oakes is amply filling his shoes, and he wants to make the place his own.
Reserve goalkeeper Michael Oakes may have been beaten twice inside 3 minutes, but he kept Villa's UEFA Cup hopes alive in the third round first leg as he continues to wait in the wings for the big chance.
Mentally it's very frustrating, really, because it's all about playing in the first team, playing the games and being in the thick of the action. But I mean, physically, the training doesn't change whatsoever. We train very hard with our goalkeeping coach here, and so on the training side it's not too bad. But on the mental side, it does get very frustrating.
But obviously, you're young, you're very ambitious, you're doing well in terms of your goalkeeping. How do you see the future?
Hopefully, I can only go up. My ambitions are very high. I'm at a fantastic club here, and it's a big club. I've got a big job in front of me to get rid of Bozzy. But from last season, things picked up a lot. Hopefully from this run of games things can get better again.
Do you feel your game has improved?
Yeah, definitely. Over the last 12 months I feel I've come on leaps and bounds. I mean, the main thing now is to keep playing and gain the experience, which you can't really get just through the training.
Well, Blues defender Michael Johnson could be heading to the 1998 World Cup finals in France as part of the Jamaican side. The 24-year-old Nottingham-born defender is a shot contender for the squad as his parents come from the Caribbean island. In cricket, the West Indies could follow Warwickshire's example by appointing Brian Lara as their new captain. The Bears committee sent shockwaves through Edgbaston earlier this week when they made him their skipper for '98. Lara has always been regarded as a windy skipper in waiting. In rugby, Moseley winger Dara Omani marked his return to international rugby with a late try last night in Ireland as they beat Canada 26-10 in Belfast. It was his first game in 18 months. Well, now it's that time of the week again. It's our cookery programme, angling, with John Foster here's Fish and Tips.
Welcome to this week's Foster's Fishing Tip. Now this week we're going to talk about hemp seed. Now hemp seed in the raw state is a seed and it's very hard. But what anglers do is wash the hemp seed and put it in a saucepan. Don't use a good saucepan because it wrecks the saucepan. Cover it with water, bring it to the boil and let it simmer until the hemp seed is cooked. That is when the white part of the seed is just showing through the shell. Now, this week's fishing tip is when you've cooked enough hemp for your normal day's fishing, leave some in the pot and add some cochineal food colouring. You can experiment with different ones, but I've been using the red cochineal, and the hemp comes out a nice coloured red. Now this gives you a choice of fishing, and that is more than enough bait there for a day's fishing. One other tip: before you cook the main hemp seed, riddle off the dry hemp seed and get the largest pieces and cook those separately, and you've got superb hook bait. But don't forget, this week's fishing tip: try the red hemp. Welcome to